Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's focus for Monday, October the 24th, 2022 at 11:18 a.m. Central Time. Today's focus, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, and a very interesting phrase, perilous times. Today, I want you to focus on this concept of perilous times that are coming. Are they already here? But here's really what I want you to focus on today. I want you to think about this. How should an individual Christian prepare for the perilous times to come? Whether those perilous times come from within society or if they come from within the church. I want you to think about the perilous times coming in both areas. Perilous times coming in society, how should a Christian prepare for that? And how should a Christian prepare for perilous times coming inside the church? Because I think both requires a different way of thinking and a different type of preparing. How do you prepare for perilous times coming outside of the church and perilous times coming inside the church? That is what I want you to think about today. That is today's focus. Now, if just so that you know, we're going to be working on 2 Timothy chapter 3 for the Bible study exercise podcast series. So make sure you're listening to that and you subscribe to that because we'll be going more in depth. But I want to take from that and give you these very specific things so that in a day where there's a million distractions, you can say, nope, I'm going to focus in on this one thing. How should you as a Christian prepare for perilous times outside the church and inside the church? Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, and let's do a little bit of work this morning. Are you ready? 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, we read these words. Paul writing to Timothy, "This know also." All right, here's something, Timothy, you need to know. You need to know this also, that in the last days, now there's much we could do hours of discussion about what does that phrase last days mean. Everyone has a different perspective, so many different views in eschatology of what last days actually means. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that on the Bible study exercise. But this know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. Hey, you need to know perilous times are coming. Perilous times are coming. And whatever you look at now, there's a possibility that, perilous times seem to indicate that things are going to get worse and worse and worse, which I firmly believe. I don't know what eschatology you would believe that would tell you different, but I believe things are going to get worse and worse and worse. And because of that, you need to be prepared for perilous times. So how do you prepare? Well, let's listen to this verse from a number of translations. The Amplified Bible. "But understand this, that in the last days will come." Now, this is very important. "But understand this, that in the last days will come in perilous times of great stress and trouble, hard to deal with and hard to bear." They really expand this. They really amplify this, that these perilous times, these times are going to set in, and it's going to be a time of great stress and trouble. They're going to be hard to deal with and hard to bear. A time of great stress and trouble. That's how they kind of define perilous times. It's going to be it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard to bear. So if that's the case, if we really truly believe that, then we don't wait for it to happen and then react. We need to be proactive in how do we prepare ourselves for these perilous times. Another translation, "You must understand this, in the last days, there will be violent periods of time." That's interesting. KJV, "This know also, then in the last days, perilous times will come." New Living Translation, "You should also know this, Timothy, that in the last days, there will be very difficult times." Phillips, "But you must realize that in the last days, the times will be full of danger. This be constantly knowing that in the last days, difficult times will come." Young's Literal, "And this know that in the last days, there shall come perilous times. What do we mean by perilous times? Well, if we go to the Blue Letter Bible app and look up the Greek word that's translated perilous here, it's this phrase. It's this Greek word. Here we go.
Strong's G 5467. Chalipas. Chalipas.
Chalipas. Chalipas. It's used 2 times. Fierce once, perilous. Now it's used fierce in Matthew 8:28. When he was come to the other side in the country, there met him 2 possessed with devils coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by. Exceeding fierce. These demon-possessed men are fierce. Well, the time is coming that it's going to be perilous. It's going to be fierce. That gives the idea of kind of violence, why some translated it that way. The Greek word, if we look up the Strong's definition, halipos, it means reducing the strength, right? So it's the idea of reducing the strength. So here you are as a Christian, and it's the idea that the perilous times are going to come, and it's going to reduce your strength. It's going to be very difficult to bear. It's going to be difficult, dangerous, furious, fierce, perilous. Thayer's lexicon gives us this: hard to do, to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, savage. So hard to do, in other words, it's going to be hard to handle it, to live through it, hard to take, to approach, hard to bear, troublesome, dangerous, harsh, fierce, and savage. Perilous times are coming. And there's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be fierce. It's going to reduce your strength. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to maintain and to make it through it. Now, if you know that's coming, you know it's on its way. You know it's on its way. If you believe that in any way, shape, or form, then what should you be doing and what should I be doing? What should your church be doing to really prepare? Are we really preparing people for the perilous times that are coming? Is the church really prepared for it? I don't think we are. I think we read it and go, amen, perilous times are coming. And then sometimes what we'll do, perilous times are on its way, or perilous times are here. Look at what's going on in the news. Perilous times are here. But are they? I don't know if they're really here. I don't know. I just know this, that whatever we see today, I think things are only going to get worse. So if you think today is perilous times part 2 is going to even be more fierce and more difficult. So are we preparing? But the question I really want you to meditate on and think about and focus on today for today's focus is, how should Christians prepare? How should we be prepared for the perilous times that are coming? What can we do today? Now, I want you to think about perilous times in the culture and perilous times inside the church. Now, if you go back to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And then starting in verse 2, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. And then it starts listing a number of things. Now, I really want you to think about this. That list, some people believe that is describing the perilous times that's going to arise within the culture, within society, within the lost world, and that Christians are going to have to endure it. I take a completely different interpretive perspective. I don't believe that's describing hard, perilous times that's going to arise within the culture. I believe it's describing the perilous times that's going to arise within the church. All right, but today, we'll talk about that on the Bible study exercise, and I'll give you an assignment there. But today, just focus on perilous times. What can you do to prepare? What can you do to prepare? And I'll just look at a number of things said about this, about the word here, about the Greek word. It's the idea, I think we got the basic idea of fierce, hostile, all the different things here. Okay, well, yeah, I don't. I think that there's some of the commentaries do a lot of speculating here, and I don't want to do the speculating here. Yeah, I don't want to get into that speculation because there's some people try to connect it because the Greek word is used to describe those two men who are demon possessed, who meet them and are fierce. Some people try to argue then that proves that the perilous times is going to be basically energized by demons. And I think that that's a stretch. It's just the same Greek word. It's describing the nature of the time. Just because the two demon-possessed men were fierce, I don't think that you can then take that, bring it over to 2 Timothy 3 and go, see, these days are going to be energized by demons. I think that's I think there's some questionable hermeneutics going on there and some questionable cross-reference. It's describing the nature of the days. They're going to be fierce, just like those demon-possessed men were fierce, dangerous, difficult, hard to deal with. That is the point. I don't think it's trying to describe that the days are going to be demonically engineered. I think that's I think that's a stretch. So we'll stay away from that speculation. We'll stay away from that speculation because I just think that sometimes when we, just because you see the same Greek word used in two different areas, be very careful to just immediately connect it and just draw some conclusion. The connection is both situations is going to be fierce, dangerous, hard to deal with, difficult, going to reduce your strength. Keep it there instead of trying to draw some grander connection that the text may not actually be supporting. So today, your focus, today's focus, perilous times, they're on their way. They're coming. Whatever you think is already present, more is on the way. Are you prepared for it? And I want you to think about how to prepare for perilous times in the culture and inside the church. Because I believe a lot of Christians have some thought of how to prepare for the perilous times in the culture. Well, we're going to do this, and then we'll do this, and got some ideas. But I don't know if Christians are really prepared when the church becomes the place where the perilous times are evident. If we read the rest of 2 Timothy 3 and look at the description, if that's happening inside your church, well, what are we going to do? When the church at large basically meets the description of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1 and following, verse 2 and following. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What's the answer? I don't think most Christians think about it because they always act like that's going to be out there in the mean, bad, ugly world, and we're going to be safe and secure inside the church. The church is going to be wonderful. And I think that that's a wrong approach to the text, which is going to lead people not prepared. So you can let me know. You can email me, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I would love to get your thoughts on today's focus, what you see, what you're thinking, your list of how to prepare. That's the whole point of this, is to give you one thing to focus on. And there's more I want to do. There's more I want to do, but the goal is to keep these short so that you just are handed something and now you get to pursue it. You get to chase it. So I look forward to hearing from you. And, that's it. That's your focus for today. I'm just going to leave it right there. There's more I want to say. But I think the more I say, then the more I will take you away from focusing on one thing and give you 10 things to focus on, which is what I typically do. All right. Till tomorrow, focus on God's word today. Meditate on it. Think upon it. Feed upon it, that you may grow because of it. Thank you for listening. Everyone have a great day.